Welcome to the Jameela Adams Experience podcast. It's a place and a space for women over 40 to be inspired, encouraged, and heard. Your host, Jameela Adams, will talk about how life be lifing and how to find joy when overcoming challenges. You're invited to join the experience. Hey everyone, thank you for joining this week's podcast. I'm so glad that we were able to join each other. So this week, I wanted to talk about something that is pretty important to me. As a business owner, I wanted to be able to convey my thoughts about my brand, about myself, my personal and professional life. So with that being said, that's why I started the podcast. So I would like to encourage other business owners to do the same thing. So with that, let's get into reasons why, as a business owner, you should have a podcast. To reach a wider audience, as you know, podcasts have become increasingly popular in recent years, and by creating one, you can reach a larger audience beyond your traditional followers. Another advantage of having a podcast is that it allows you to create evergreen content that can be repurposed and reused across different platforms. For example, you can transcribe your podcast episodes into a blog post or into social media content, which can help you reach a wider audience and improve your search engine rankings. And that's what we want. The more we're seen, the more we're heard, the more people get to know us, the more possibility they'll buy our goods, services, products, whatever. So the other reason why you should have a podcast as a business owner is to build your brand. You know, as time progresses, we need to find ways to get seen in front of people. So podcast has emerged as a powerful tool for building your brand and establishing yourself as an authority in your industry. Like personally, I know that since I started this podcast, I'm able to talk with people about it. I've been able to network with people about it. I know in that short period of time of I've built up a confidence to actually talk to people about why I did it. And obviously, the goal is to have guests on the show. But right now, we're making progress. Been doing this now since January, more consistently since March. So in due time, things will come as far as like having guests. But in the process, I want people to know more about me, about my brand, and who I am as a business owner. So when I talk about my life experiences as my business, Jameela Adams at your service, it's more or less another extension of me. So I just want to be able to build that authenticity. So the other reason too is that I want to connect with listeners. I look at the numbers and it's great that I can be reached in the United States, but also I have noticed that there's people out of the country are listening to the podcast. And I just want to be able to connect on a deeper level with people. And that's one of the reasons why I did it. And I want that to be conveyed to other business owners. You want to connect with people because people will do business with who they know, like, and trust, and you want to have that. So to make listeners feel like you have a personal relationship with you, you want to engage, you want to be engaging, and this will cause loyalty. So that's the goal, is to have engagement and also brand loyalty. So that way they know you and like you and trust you. So the main benefit of having a podcast is that they can be consumed on the go, meaning that it's up to it's the convenience of it. You can pop it on your phone when you're doing your workout or you're doing your chores or just running errands. You can listen to your favorite host and be engaged. And that eventually is what I would like to do, is to be able to talk with people and build a rapport and a monologue, or I should say monologue, a dialogue with people, and just saying, hey, I did this. This is my business. I would like for you to learn more about it and build a community. So that's the whole goal of it, is to connect with listeners. One of the goals, I should say. So to recap, the main reason why you should have a podcast is to 1, reach a wider audience, 2, build your brand, 3, connect with listeners. Let's move forward to the other reasons why. The other reasons why you want to build, you want to have a podcast as a business owner, is to monetize your content. Podcasts can offer a wide range of monetization options, from sponsorship and advertising to selling merch and courses. This can provide an additional stream of income for your business. Personally, I haven't gotten there yet. I would like eventually to sell my merch, I guess you could say, like a t-shirt or a mug or anything that has my logo, like a sticker or something. But eventually that will happen. It hasn't happened yet, but eventually I would like for that to happen. So that is another stream of income you can have as a host of a podcast. So overall, monetizing your podcast can provide, additional string of income for your business through sponsorships, merchandise sales, and educational content. That's the other thing too. If you have a course you want to sell, you can talk about it and you can sell it off of your podcast. So it's something to think about as a business owner. So the other thing you definitely want to consider when having a podcast is that you can create evergreen content. Unlike social media posts or blog articles, podcasts are evergreen and can be listened at any time. So like say if you put something out last year, someone discovers you this year. Because of you placing that seed, they can now listen to you and your brand will grow. So that's what you want to do. You want to have content to keep generating for years to come. So the other benefit of creating evergreen content through your podcast, it allows you to showcase your expertise and knowledge on in your industry in a particular subject. For me, I put out newsletters on LinkedIn. I'm getting back into using LinkedIn a lot more, and I did talk about a particular service that I provide, and it was a three-part series on how I do website evaluations. So it takes you through one step of making sure that the site is aesthetically pleasing, and then the next step is to make sure that none of the links are broken, and the next step is to make sure you don't have the dreaded 404 error page. And finally, I think the last step was learning about why SEO is important and having keywords on your website is important. So that is something I will be talking about on this pod in the weeks to come. But just saying that evergreen content is key in growing your brand and becoming an authentic or authoritative voice in your industry. So the other thing about having a podcast, it allows you to improve your public speaking. Now, I am an informal public speaker. I have to tone it down a little bit because I will drop an F-bomb here and there to convey my thought. However, I try not to put so many of them on the pod. However, I have noticed that I've built a lot more confidence by having the podcast and speaking. It has helped me improve on every aspect of my life by having conversations with friends, by speaking at social events, and even doing presentations. So it definitely has helped me improve my public speaking. So I would definitely recommend that for you. If you have something worth saying, put it out. And it's okay if you mess up in the beginning. But it takes time and it takes practice. So you'll get there. I know I'm still a work in progress, but it allows me to discover this new passion of mine and get a new skill set in the process. And it allows, like I said, allows me to convey my thoughts with clarity and be concise. And also, I love talking about my business. So this is what helps me. So fast forwarding, I want us to foster a sense of community. That's why I created the podcast. I want to be able to have a following of people who experience the same thing I have. Maybe on a different level, but with the podcast, we should be able to create a dialogue and have conversations. If something you heard about on the pod, or anyone's pod, not just mine, that makes you think, makes you react, makes you do, then that's something that you want to have and build on. So in addition to fostering a sense of community, podcasts can also provide valuable feedback and insights from your listeners. So when you put something out there, you will get it back. Maybe good, it may be negative, but it's something that you are developing. So by encouraging your listeners to share their thoughts and experiences with you, you can gain a deeper understanding of their needs and interests. which can help you create a more engaging content in the future. So that is the whole point of doing all this, is to convey your thoughts, convey your ideas, to talk about what you do, about the services that you provide, and you want that to be shared. So another step in this whole podcast game is to stay up to date on industry trends. By hosting a podcast, you can stay up to date on your industry's trends and development. By interviewing experts and thought leaders, you can gain valuable insight and share them with your audience. One of the benefits of hosting a podcast is that you can set it to your own schedule, and you can do it virtually anywhere. This means you can reach out to people all over the world and bring them onto your show. Additionally, you can tailor your podcast to the specific interest of your audience, whether it means developing deep in technical details or just talking on a broader, more high-level view of your industry. Personally, I talk to my clients, or I talk to my audience like I'm talking to my clients. I don't like to do stuff over their head. So when I'm talking to you, I try to keep it layman's terms, I guess, without all the technical jargon. But I do like keeping that part up to, keep things up to date. Eventually, I will have guests on the show. That is the goal. But I want them to talk about their industry, not just mine. I want to hear about what they do. And I would hope that would interest you as well, to have people across all types of backgrounds and diverse thoughts to come on and talk about their life story, their industry, what makes them the business owner that they are. So going into that, you will definitely expand your network by having a podcast. I've noticed that now that I've gotten back into the swing of networking in a different arena, I find that I am among podcasters and learning about what they talk about in their business and so on. And it can also lead to valuable collaborations and partnerships. Because it's a popular and effective way, podcasting is a way to expand your network and connect with like-minded individuals in your industry. But it also allows you to cross, other industries as well. By creating a podcast, you not only have the opportunity to showcase your skills and expertise, but you can share those insights with your audience. And it allows other podcasters in different industries or the same industry to talk about how to build and grow your network on your podcast. So it's one of those things, you don't want to have an echo chamber. You don't want everybody to have the same mouth that you speak out of, if that makes sense. But you want people on your show that resonates with you, that have relevant information that you feel that your listeners would like to know. So that's a good thing about having a podcast as a business owner. And finally, and this is what I like the most, having a podcast is fun. I enjoy it. I may not do it every day, because of my business, but I do like to put my content out once a week. I put my content out Fridays, and it allows me to plan around it, to find topics I think will be relevant, and it allows me to just be. So one of the great things about having the podcast is that I can connect with you, and I can connect with people all over the world, not just in my SoCal hometown, but I can connect with people all over the world. And by sharing my thoughts and ideas with you, I can create a community. And that's what I would like to do, is create a community. And that's the whole point of doing this, is to create a community with people. So, that being said, I want you to, one, be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, be encouraging, but most of all, I want you to be you. And I'll chat with you next week.